Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about the first idea in chapter 17 where we think about vector calculus. And we first need to introduce a very important object in mathematics called vector fields. And so far, we have primarily worked with scalar functions. So far what we have done, we have looked at scalar functions in R2 and R3, and these are functions where you put in a variable or a quantity that changes, and the output is a scalar, right? So y equals f of x is a scalar function. Z equals f of xy is a scalar function because our output is z, which is a scalar, and that resulted in surfaces in R3. We might also have, as many input values as we want, and these are called scalar functions. They give rise to curves, surfaces, hypersurfaces, where the input is a point and the output is a scalar. We also looked at vector functions, maybe of the form r of t, where we might have had a couple of components, x of t, y of t. We did that earlier in the semester, and for these types of functions, our inputs were also just a point or one value, and our outputs were vectors. So here the outputs were vectors, and these were called vector functions. So scalar functions, vector functions, you put in a value and you get out a vector. Now, with vector fields, we actually assign a vector to every point in space. So if a vector field, every point that we put in, our input is a point, could be in R2 or R3, so input is a point, and the output is a vector. So in R2, the input is a point in R2, so xy, and the output is a vector in R2. And the way that we graph these is that we draw a vector at every point in space. So that is what a vector field, just in general, the idea of a vector field is. And some examples before we get to a definition. For example, flow of air molecules can be modeled with vector fields. And these are velocity vector fields, right? Where at a point in space, the direction tells you the direction of flow of the air molecules, and the magnitude is the speed at which they're flowing. We might have, for example, ocean currents, also a velocity field, where at any point in space, we can assign a vector that gives us whose length is the speed at which the ocean currents are moving, and it tells us also the direction in which the currents are moving. We might have force fields. So students who study physics probably have seen various force fields like magnetic, gravitational, and electrical force fields. We might even have something like human migration patterns that can be modeled with vector fields. So just some examples of the types of objects that we're interested in, and that we will be integrating throughout this chapter. So let's formally define vector fields in R2 and R3, and in the next video, we'll look at some explicit examples. So vector fields in R2. Suppose that we have two functions, f and g, both in R2, so defined on the plane, and a vector field in R2 is a function that we will denote with a capital letter. It doesn't really matter, but what matters is that this is a vector. It's denoted by a vector that assigns to each point in R in R2 on the plane, a vector whose components are made up of these functions, f of xy and g of xy. So we can write that our vector field is the set of vectors whose components are f of xy, g of xy, and we can also write this using our standard basis vectors. So f of xy times I hat plus g of xy times j hat. Okay, in 3 dimensions, now we're assigning a vector to every point in space. So this time we're going to let f, g, and h be defined on some region D in space, and the vector field then takes in a point in space x, y, z and assigns a vector in space. So f of x, y, z, g of x, y, z, and h of x, y, z. So input is a point, output is a vector in space. We could also write that again with using our standard basis vector. So we have f of x, y, z, I hat plus g of x, y, z, j hat plus h of x, y, z, k hat. And notice that points in R3 get plotted to vectors in R3. In R2, points in R2 get plotted to vectors in R2. So the way that we will denote them is by drawing vectors at different points. And of course, we won't be able to draw all the vectors in space or all the vectors on a plane. That's impossible. But we will draw enough so that we have an idea of the field that we're working with. And one final statement here is that a vector field is continuous or differentiable if the functions that define it are continuous or differentiable. So that's important to note. So we need f, g, h to be continuous and differential for the vector to be. That's Lucy barking. Okay, that is our introduction to vector fields. In our next video, we're going to look at 3 different examples.